Live from the Preston Highway Studios, it's 24-Hour Purple People. And now here's your host, John Harper.
Oh, hello, and welcome to 24-Hour Purple People. My name's John Harper. Absolutely thrilled to have you along for the ride on this beautiful Sunday evening in Louisville, Kentucky. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us on 24-Hour Purple People. If you have never been here, we are glad to have you for your first time around. But if you are new here, you should probably know that my panelists can receive yellow cards, especially if they're very bad, very mean, and very naughty. Mostly if I just don't like what they're saying. If they get 2 yellow cards, they're going to get a red card, and they'll not be able to talk for a whole minute. So in that time period, I can really just do whatever I want, or the other panelists can do whatever they want. And speaking of those panelists, we have 2 gentlemen, 4 black frames on their faces. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Luther, Matt Dalton. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, John.
What's up, man?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, I suppose. Can't get much better than this. Had my air conditioning.
Can't get much worse either.
Yeah, had my air conditioning repaired a couple weeks ago, and apparently it is. I shouldn't say repaired. I had it replaced, and apparently it's not working again. So that's awesome. Other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Just didn't take, did it?
No, because it is very hot here in Louisville. It was kind of hot last night at Lynn Family Stadium. Also a little rain involved in the match last night. A beautiful crowd on hand, a new record for racing, over 8,700 in attendance for Fill the Fam Racing Edition. Off and on rain throughout this one. It was raining down goals as well early for racing. Ken, I'm going to start with you. You know, we talked about racing getting off to a solid start. Didn't exactly happen again. What did you see out there last night from racing?
Yeah, well, I didn't see a whole lot. I think everybody is kind of on the same sheet of music right now on being upset about the quality of play that we saw. I saw a lot of people playing out of position. You know, obviously I'm not a great coach or anything like that, but this is a familiar story. We are struggling to get the ball out of back without launching it from our back line or our goalkeeper all the way up to midfield, where we're losing possession, and then we're getting caught in transition. You know, the first 10 minutes, you know, I saw Mallory Pugh running down her left flank right towards our right with Laura Millay MIA. I didn't even know where she was half the time. I was astounded. So then Bonner had to kind of come over and try to match speed and all of that with Mallory Pugh, which is not going to happen.
Nope.
And we were just getting torched down that side. And then when we did get the ball, when we weren't scored, on the few times that we weren't scored on, you know, Lester, I thought, was our distribution, but it was always coming over to Bonner, and then everybody was just kind of moving forward, creating this huge gap between DeMello and Howe and the back line, and she just had to kind of boot it forward again. It was almost like watching a high school game. It was really, really terrible soccer, and we got a little bit better in the second half, but I'll tell you what, there's some serious communication breakdowns between the back line and the holding mids. Yeah,
something is definitely going on. And Matt, you were at the match last night. You tweeted about Yuki, and then 5 minutes later, you tweeted about Yuki again. Look, I was at work, so I was following along on FOPMob, and I got this alert that said Yuki scored, and then I got it again. And I was like, "What's going on with this app? Why did I get back-to-back scoring notifications? Is it glitching up? Oh no, she just scored twice in 5 minutes. That just kind of sealed the deal, didn't it?"
Yeah, Yuki, I thought we were better than that. You know, I thought that we had maybe, you know, you weren't here long, but you were here for a good time and not a long time. And I feel like we're better than that. And a lot of that went down the drain last night, Yuki. So sorry, that's on you. Where do we even start with this one, really? I think for a lot of the year, and I'm speaking for myself here entirely, but I think maybe some other people can sort of relate. I purposely tried to stay as sort of optimistic as possible when it comes to the season. You know, I recognize that we're a work in progress and that it often takes expansion teams, you know, a few years to really start competing. And all that being said, I may have reached my breaking point last night. Just Ken already alluded to our disconnect in the passing game. We struggled all night. I mean, particularly in our own half. We allowed for 14 interceptions coming out of our half. But even before we made those passes, we looked disconnected, right? Multiple times you see players with the ball at their feet sort of look over at the sideline or sort of raise their hands in frustration because people weren't where they were supposed to be, is sort of what it seemed like to me. And on the defensive end, yeah, we allowed Mallory Pugh way too much space. I mean, she's a world-class player. I mean, you're going to get burned if you're going to allow her that much space. We lost her pretty consistently all night. So you can't really do that and hope to win.
No, I totally agree. I mean, it was a recipe for disaster last night, and it couldn't have happened at a worse time in front of a record crowd. Ken, we do get a little nice break before we head down North Kakalaka to play on September 10th against the Courage. Where do we go from here? Where does racing go from here after a defeat like that? The team seemed, in the post-game media conferences and things, seemed a little deflated. Not really any passing of the blame around, but where would you go? What would you do, Ken, in this circumstance? I mean, there was just some strange stuff out there from racing, some weird substitutions. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I've thought about this kind of all day, and I've kind of looked at stats, and I rewatched the game, and I've watched portions of the game, and I talked about it just a bit ago, is there's this communication breakdown. And part of that is coming from our captain, who's the on-field captain, which is Gemma Bonner. And I feel that she's struggling with controlling the back line in the midfield to be able to build out of the back and get the ball up to the forward. So if we're going to work on something, we need to work on that. So we at least have a fighting chance of getting the ball out of our half of the field without giving it away. And that's kind of where it starts. And, she's got to control it. That's her job. She's the captain. She's the central defender. She's the one where it all emanates from. And it's just not happening. So 2 weeks, if you got to make a change, make a change. We don't have a huge amount of depth at a lot of these positions. So I'm kind of struggling with what changes to make. Freya's been riding the bench a little bit. Maybe Freya needs to come back on and start playing that 6. I know it's not her favorite place to play, but at this point we need players, the best players playing in the best spots. I'm not convinced that Holland DeMello in the central midfield on a 4-4-2 is the right combination that we should be playing. So we're going to have to make some changes. We have to get some wins. I think if Coach Kim wants to keep his job, he's going to have to end on a high note for the rest of the season. If not, I think we're going to have to go through another coaching change, which sucks a lot because he's built a team around himself.
Yeah, definitely does.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the roster was sort of catered to him, right? So, yeah, you don't want to, on the one hand, you don't want to see a change because of that. But on the other hand, like, I don't know, something's not connecting here. Sort of the biggest question I had, and John alluded to a little bit of like the odds substitutions. Sort of the biggest question that I had was stems from that 33rd minute sub of Rebecca Holloway for Alex Chidiak. So normally, I try not to criticize tactical decisions from the sidelines because, for one, I don't know what I'm talking about. And also, it can go down sort of a nitpicky path that I just don't really want to go down. But it's mostly because I don't know what I'm talking about. But when Bjorkegren was asked why he made this sub, right, he said he was just trying to shake things up before adding that he didn't think she was playing poorly. He just thought he needed to try something. Why in the fuck would you say that out loud?
It's not the side we were getting torched on. We were getting torched on the other side. It didn't make any sense. I think Holloway's a more defensive player, and Chidiak plays more farther forward, and they're like, holy shit, we're getting torched in the back there. So we need to have a more defensive mindset. And that just tells me they didn't do their homework before the game.
And we were right behind the bench, right? We saw when Chidiak came out, she was like visibly confused, and she had her hands up. She was like, what happened? Like, why am I out? What's going on? You'd expect like some sort of some huge tactical change, but we really didn't see that, right? It seemed like Coach Kim was sort of throwing shit at the wall to see if it stuck, right? And I get it's been 3 months since we've won a game, so I get that you kind of need to do that a little bit. but don't say it out loud, man. Don't admit it. Come on.
Yeah, it was the Leroy Jenkins approach to soccer. Just run in, balls to the walls. Who cares? Let's see what happens. Yeah, that was a little confusing. But
I mean, how many times did the ball get to Nadia? She had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, and then it was given away. She had nobody to give it to. There was no support forward, left, right, and maybe she was even keeping the ball a little bit too long. She should have been playing hold up a little bit more. I mean, I don't know, but at all parts of the pitch, we were struggling.
We just couldn't get bodies forward on attack for sure. Just all night. There was nobody to help once we got the ball like into those channels. Like there was nobody to help. There was no coming up. I mean,
which confuses me because they were all streaking forward as soon as we got the ball on the back, yet that they weren't forward when we got the ball. I don't understand.
Just disarray. It was just disarray all over the pitch, really.
Disarray indeed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we do from here. I do know that seat is getting warmer by the game. Wind would be nice. Yes, it would be. But hey, hats off to the 8,700 that came out. Little random rain that nobody expected. Or well, maybe they didn't. I don't know. There was a forecast I saw online.
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, somebody posted that was like, we're expecting a few sprinkles. It was a lot more than a few sprinkles. It poured there for a minute, but nevertheless, we'll continue to support racing, and we hope they get things turned around and, nowhere to go but up from here. So I guess that's one way to look at it, and we've got to start getting some things going in the right direction. Like I said, the team seemed a little deflated, and we were a little deflated too. So, on nights where you are a little deflated, being a racing supporter, being a Louisville soccer supporter, on nights that you're deflated, you can always think to yourself, well, at least we got Lou City, right? Well, maybe not. Entering last night's match, the 10-game unbeaten streak on the line. Louisville City just could not convert. We are now 0-2 in the Sunshine State. It marks the first defeat since we played Tampa Bay and lost there in June. Matt, I'll start with you on this one. You look at the stat lines to this game. How on earth did Louisville City lose this game?
Yeah, there were some wild stat lines, man. We are a tremendous squad, right? We can beat any other team in this league. I truly believe that. But multiple times this year, we have passed our biggest tests with flying colors, right? But our inability to finish is what could be our undoing when it comes to play for hardware, right? When you look at the statistics from this game, they're almost shocking, right? 68% possession, 19 shots, 12 corners, over 500 accurate passes, and 0 goals, no goals, which is what it all boils down to, right? We were without Wilson Harris, who could have been a huge difference maker, but that just kind of highlights the problem even more, right? We're an injury or a red card away from being a very short-sighted half on attack. And we need Cam back now more than ever, sure, but we also need some other players to step up, right? Enoch had a great month recently, but still isn't really the consistent threat that we need him to be. Jorge Gonzalez has seen his playing time shrink as he's failed to really become a threat. And Ray Serrano has had some excellent chances on goal as he's seen more and more playing time, but he can't seem to finish there either, right? In playoff runs of old, we kind of famously relied on playoff Ownby, right? A player who was good, but who seemingly found another gear when the season was on the line. Who is going to step up and be playoff Ownby this year? I mean, we can rely on some of these guys, but we need to push more. We need to get more guys on that scoring line.
Oh, absolutely. Ken, interesting strategy from Miami. Let's, tip of the hat to them, getting a go early and basically just holding Louisville City, letting Louisville City have possession in this one. Maybe they found our Achilles heel, or is this something we can adjust and overcome, you think?
Now, this has been our Achilles heel for how long have we been around? 7, 8 years. This is when we are at our worst, is when a team has the ability to, through luck a little bit, go up early, and then they can play on a back foot, park the bus. play with 6 people behind the ball at all times. I watched our 2 Louisville games back to back. And one of the things I noticed is the organization of the Miami defense with the 2 midfielders, 2 holding midfielders right in front of their 4 people in the back line was textbook of how you're supposed to play that way. And maybe Racing should watch that so that they can see the spacing and how they went through with that, because they were able to play a very solid defense that we had a lot of shots, but we didn't have a lot of high probability shots. There were a lot of shots coming from Ray Serrano from the 18 or 20 yards out or whatever. They were well organized in the back, and they were able to hold on to it the whole game. It also showed us that we have lack of depth in a few positions where we thought coming into the season we had all kinds of depth. Having our 2 strikers out, one on a stupid yellow card, a red card, is really hurt us, which Matt already alluded to. We certainly, that type of game where you have not a whole lot of space to get into the penalty box of your opposition, you're going to need somebody that can make those sharp movements and make those very nice touches to get the ball in the back of the net. And that is just not what Brian Ownby does. Playoff Brian Ownby is a winger.
Yep, Matt, this was the first loss since June 5th, as we talked about. Got to be very proud of this run by Louisville City. And looking around the league, we didn't really lose much on the table yesterday evening, did we?
I think everybody lost yesterday, right? I think most people at the top of the table lost. So we're still number 1, right? 55 points heading into this. We've got a really difficult stretch out in front of us, right? Right before the playoffs start. And Ken and I talked about this a little bit. The team in the past has been able to sort of use losses to sort of snap them out of like any potential lulls that they're in. And I know that we won in Detroit, but I really didn't think we played that well. So this is 2 games in a row that we've sort of not played up to the caliber of ball that we normally play to. So maybe this loss is in the long run a good thing. I mean, we can sort of afford to take a loss at this point, and maybe it'll help us, snap back to reality and start playing Lou City soccer again.
We want to welcome everybody to the chat this evening. Good to see Kaylee out there. Hello. And everybody else as well. Glad you are joining this evening. Ken, any closing thoughts on Miami? I made a note that we could barely see the players. It seemed like the lighting there was a little they needed to crank it up a little. I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking at that stadium. That's the Florida International University football stadium that they're playing in, which holds about 20,000 people. That actually could be a pretty great soccer stadium. They're playing on that kind of pellet turf field.
The pellety.
It was a cloudy day. Yes. So I think there's an issue kind of there with maybe filth. I'm not an expert on this crap, but I think they can improve it. It's a great stadium. They have a very good club. There's no doubt about it. And they have great players. Got
a great horn section.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, they had a great horn section. It sounded kind of like a football band. But regardless, I think down the road, we're going to have to watch out for this ball club because I think they're going to be really good. I think they're building something. I don't know if they're going to keep playing in that stadium or not, but I think if they start filling that thing, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with years to come.
They're not going to fill it. They can't fill up their MLS stadium, so they're not going to fill that one up. There's no possible way. There was about 1,400 people there. Daniel was there, Lou City faithful.
Hey, Daniel.
But the one thing I will say about the horns, somebody had, I guess, built into their megaphone. So, the megaphones have the sirens built in. They actually had the, I don't know exactly what you'd call it, like the cavalry charge. Port. The cavalry charge. Yeah. That was interesting.
You got a USB port on that thing. All you got to do is connect it to your phone, man.
Boom.
Well, that's true. Well,
don't unlock playoff Harper.
Don't encourage us capos to plug in our phones to our megaphones. That could be a disaster waiting to happen.
Could be.
Speaking of something that is never a disaster, It is time for yet another chapter in the history of LIPAFC. This is the 378th LIPAFC, if you're keeping count at home. This time at Carroll Stadium. Thank God it's not Lucas Oil Field. Ken, we had table talk last week, and I think we both agreed that we were pretty surprised at where Indy 11 was at on that table. What do you see coming up? A midweek game at Indy against the 11 of Indy.
I see a problem. I think we talked about it last time, but I'll say it again. I think if there's an underrated team in the Eastern Conference, it's Indy 11. I think they showed that against San Antonio over the weekend. The players that they have going from Asante to Tejeda, even in the back, Hackshaw, we know all of these players. We've played against these players, and we've seen how dangerous they can be. So, it's not a whole lot of rest, but I think we're angry. So I think we need to take it out on them, and I think we need to run up the score, and we need to crush them. But it's also a very dangerous game because this is a club that has been underperforming all season, and it seems like they're starting to come in their own, which is horrible timing for us. So I hope to see some of our players back, especially up in the top. I know that Wilson Harris will be back. I want to see at least Cam make the bench on this. And I think it's going to be pretty grudgy.
Now, Ken, do you have any? You want to see Cam make the bench? Do you have any inside juice on that one?
No, I have no. I've been asking leading questions and snooping around, not the academy here,
digging through trash.
Gotcha.
Digging for trash, and it's I don't even know what's wrong with them at this point. Some sort of leg issue or hip or something. I think it's upper leg. That's all I know.
All right. Well, use your stardom next time to get us some inside information, so that way we actually kind of know what's. Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to be the inside people here at 24-hour Purple People. Matt, Indy 11 is
why else would you watch the show?
Indy 11 is one of the worst scoring teams in the USL. Yet it did pull off that huge upset against against San Antonio, I should say, yesterday evening. How did it happen, and how do we prevent it?
So, like you said, Indy's bad, right? But they're not incapable, because they did just beat the best team in the league overall last night. They've been able to string some good minutes together, right? I've watched some Indy's game off and on, and they've been able to string some good minutes together, but they have no consistency. And they do have a tendency to sort of concede at the death and then sort of pull defeat from the jaws of victory, which hopefully won't even come into we won't have to get that far, right? I want to score early on these guys and then just coast from there on out. Just try some practice pitch stuff, really get our strikers in a good sort of headspace, run the score up a little bit. I don't want this to be a close game whatsoever. I just want us to destroy these guys.
Yeah, it would be nice to come back from the loss.
We should beat this team.
Miami.
We should. I don't believe in jinxes. We should. I'm not saying we are, but we should.
You agree with that, Ken?
I don't think it's going to be very easy. I hope for all those things to happen. I hope for 11 red cards on their part, and we'll just score 100. Like the famous LIPAFC game of 1907, where we scored 107 goals. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, my grandpa told me about that.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. No.
No, I think it's going to be a tough game.
How old was your grandpa?
Yeah, no kidding. Wow, how old are you?
He was keeping tabs at 3, it should be fun. Always a good matchup. Hey, they have a personal vendetta against us. I was looking at their website, and the picture that is the link to get tickets, like they have a student discount thing like we've got, is a picture of Sean Tosh getting in it's like their players getting in Sean Tosh's face. Sean Tosh looks very and their players are Rah. That's the picture for this game. It's okay. And then they made a cute little scarf to make some money off of. But I don't know. I don't think they like us much.
I think, yeah.
I'm looking at this picture right now.
I think
Are you
they
seeing
think
it?
this game
Yeah.
is more important than we do.
It's good shit.
What was that, Ken?
I think they think this game is more important than we do. I saw the scarf and stuff like that. I'm like, this is a, kind of a 2/3 of the way season through match.
Yeah.
Hey, dude. I mean, for them, it is this important, right? I mean, this would be a huge win for them, but
It would
for
be.
us, it's just another game, right? I mean, so this is a
You
big
win.
game for them.
Hey, anytime
This is-
Louisville City comes to town, it's a big game, right? I mean, that's going to be their high, for the most part, that's going to be your highest ticket selling game of the year. I mean, Lou City is money in more ways than one. So for these clubs that we go to and usually have a shellacking towards, LIPAFC, though, at one point, this was a little bit more competitive. We'll see what happens on a special midweek edition of the LIPAFC. So who knows? But ultimately, we don't want to have two back-to-back games. We'd like to at least get a draw out of this one. But I feel pretty confident. Yes, Ken.
This is where we make up our game in hand on San Antonio. So this is where we need to win if we want to overtake this points leaders.
That's a good.
The big rebound game, man. We need to make a big comeback.
The
after
rebound
that last
game.
performance, the last couple of performances, really. We need to snap back to it.
Katie brought up the Nickelback banner. Somebody must have talked about reminding us. Linda, hi.
Well, this is how you remind me.
Yeah. Linda says the loss to Miami took the pressure off of us, having to defend a long unbeaten streak before the playoffs.
I think that's a great point. I don't think you want to go. You don't want to go into the playoffs with some sort of, phenomenal, astronomical, winning or beatless, whatever you want to call it, undefeated streak. I think you need a couple humbling defeats that are not so terrible, and you didn't end up with a whole bunch of red cards to kind of get yourself back on track. I think the same thing happened to us when we were doing the Open Cup run earlier in the season. Is that I feel that maybe we got a little bit overconfident, and I felt like maybe we were getting a little bit overconfident just recently. So I'm going to take a positive out of this, is that it's humbling and it's good for us. And that which does not kill you will only make you stronger.
Yep. That's a good point as well. Mom is really looking forward to when Josh Wyndham comes back. Hopefully it'll be very soon. Oh, Joshua Wyndham. All right. Well, thanks for everybody being in the chat. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, while you're here, please hit that like button. We would really appreciate that as well. We don't like saying that because it's really corny, but it does actually get us more people watching us and stuff like that. That's what we want. We want more people to be
Just
involved.
thinking about Barry Windham, though.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. Well, this is a very fun week for us. LIPAFC is not the only match of the week, as Lou City will then return right down the road on I-65 back to Lynn Family Stadium as we host Sacramento Republic. Speaking of the Open Cup, Matt, Sacramento plays a particularly hard-nosed style of soccer, pesky, if you will. They find a way to score goals, but they don't seem to be creating very many big chances. Excuse me. What do we have to do to get the win next Saturday, September the 3rd at Lynn Family Stadium?
What do we need to do? We need to stop Rodrigo Lopez, right? Roro is their he's accounted for a quarter of Republic's team assists, right? Creates more shots than any other player. He's sort of the engine that makes them go, right? And this team has a lot on its mind right now because they have 4 days after they play us, they have the biggest game in at least recent history for them. They have won a cup in the past, so maybe not the biggest game ever, but they've got the U.S. Open Cup final, right? So that's going to dictate a lot of their lineup and who they hope to put out there against Orlando. Might not be necessarily who they want to put out there against us. They might want to save some players, so we could really take advantage of that. There's a ton of variables in this one, right? What shape are we going to be in after a midweek LIPA? What kind of mindset are they going to be in? There's a lot of big questions here.
Yeah, absolutely. Ken Rodrigo Lopez, Matt alluded to, very tough player. I mean, they've got a lot of good weapons. Of course, being in the U.S. Open Cup finals coming up means they've got to be a pretty solid team. What's Lou City got to do to get the victory against Sacramento?
Yeah, it's kind of a game I'd like to see Cameron Lancaster come back. If he can make the bench on Wednesday, I think this would be a good one for him to come back to, because what their lineup is going to be is anybody's guess. You know, what kind of players they're going to rest and what kind of formation they're going to send out there. I think controlling the midfield is going to be very important to us in this game so that we can set up our attacks. So I'm looking for a lot out of our midfield. They are a team that plays defensively. You'll see that in all of their stats, their possession stats, and all of that. So it's going to be a lot of possessing of the ball on our part. The question is are we going to be able to finish?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a good question. This is a tough team, and we know that we seem to get a different vibe from some of these Western Conference teams. They seem to all play better for the most part at home. They're not a very good away conference. So we are looking forward to getting back to it, although it hasn't been that long. It seems like it's been a while since we've seen Louisville City since the blackout. So next Saturday should be a beautiful day for soccer in Louisville, and hopefully we'll come scorching down 65 with a win in Indy, and then just keep it going on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it. John asked a great question, and this actually transitions into our final topic of this evening. Yeah. John has got a little psychic power going on here. You see that fan there? There's a white. No, this is John Benix, our friend here in the chat. But you see this. You see this fan.
All right.
This fan is blowing in 80-degree air into this 90-degree area.
Nice.
So I'm just letting you guys know. I'm not trying to like fly through this episode or anything. And for the record, the name of this episode is We Hate Florida. I really enjoy vacationing to Florida, but today I hate Florida. We're 0-2 in Florida. All right.
I just hate Florida in general.
Yeah.
Fuck Florida.
All right. The final countdown, and it ties in perfectly to John's question. So we know we're playing Sac Republic, a team that we all are going to kind of be going from rooting against to rooting for, the entire USL all together rooting on Sacramento. So, and it's going to be odd to say, it's odd to say that. It's going to be even odd to perform that. But John's question is, do you think that Sac Republic will be resting players at Lynn Family Stadium next Saturday? And that kind of ties into this whole situation. We'll get into the whole situation in a second, but let me get you guys' take on that. Ken, if you're Sac Republic, are you resting players at Lou City to play in this, to be ready for the Open Cup Championship?
I'm not going to rest as many as some people might think they're going to rest. If you look at where they're at in the standings, they got 43 points. The problem with the West is the playoff line's at 36, 37 points right now. So if you got 8 games left on the season, and you rest players and you take 0 points out of Louisville, you're starting to put yourself in jeopardy, because you got New Mexico, El Paso, and Las Vegas right behind you, and then LA Galaxy and Oakland Roots, all quality teams coming up. I don't think Oakland's falling away a little bit, but LA Galaxy's right along the line. So it's a real tough problem for Sacramento to make. On the other hand, you want to win the Open Cup. That would mark a successful season. They are well behind San Antonio at 57 points. So they're probably not going to move up in the standings a whole lot. They might be able to catch Colorado, which is for 5 points in front of them, but probably not. What they don't want to do is they don't want to square off against San Diego or San Antonio in the first game of the playoffs. So it's a very tough situation for them to make choices about. It's a long journey to Louisville and then all the way back to California. I would expect them to rest some players. I would be surprised. I think Asante, I'm not sure how old he is, but he's been around a while. We'll see if he starts. I also don't know the quality of their bench, nor do I know the quality of kind of players that they have access to. But I don't think they're going to put on their perfect 11. On the other hand, I don't think they're going to put on their academy either. I think they're going to have to balance it.
Yep, it is a long journey from Louisville, and that was a long answer. Congratulations on your on your brace. Oh no, there's a glitch in the matrix. Matt, Ken's first ever brace in the red cards. Congratulations there, sir. Matt, same questions.
Well deserved.
Same question for you. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about resting players for the Open Cup? Oh, there it goes.
There we go. Well, let me know if you're sick of me saying this yet. Ken's right, honestly. I mean, he said it a lot more eloquently than I did, but I'll say the same thing again, just different. Yeah, they're locked in this playoff race. I believe they're 4th right now. I could be wrong. But yeah, they've got to. They're not going to put out their optimal 11, right? But they are going to put out an 11 that can compete with us. I think. I don't think they're overlooking us in order to get to this USOC game. But I do think that, I mean, from my perspective, I mean, winning the Open Cup is a pretty big deal for a USL team. So I think they're going to save a lot of their guys for that game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you couldn't – I almost agree too, but just for agreeing with Ken, there's that. I think you have to rest maybe a few players, but at the same time, you do want to continue on in the league play and keep your eye on the prize there. Hey, it's not out of the question that they could win the USL Championship this year. So, don't sell yourself short any team in this situation. But obviously, if we were coming up on an Open Cup game for the championship of the Open Cup, we'd be losing our. Everybody'd be going crazy right now. Like, what do we do? What's going to go on? Blah, blah, blah. Well, thank you, John. That was a great question, and it does transition into the final countdown. The question here is, we know the MLS has done some little finagling with their schedule to maybe give Orlando a little time. Ken, do you think the USL should maybe reschedule this game to allow more rest like Orlando did? Do you think this is a fair thing for Orlando? What's your take on that? Oh, you're muted.
Like an old person, I'm muted. First, I said Asante. I meant Pico. I got my teams mixed up. I do expect them to rest some of their front line for sure for this game. Okay, so lack of a decision is a decision in itself. When the MLS made the decision to give Orlando a little bit of a break, we, USL, should have immediately made a decision to do the same. We sat on it. We didn't do anything for a while. I think that decision has been made. That ship has sailed. We're not going to be able to reschedule a game a week out. On the other hand, I think I said last time that it would hurt us, Louisville City, if that decision were made, because we'd have to cram that game in somewhere farther down, closer to the playoffs, congesting our already congested schedule even more. So I don't know what the discussion was behind the doors, as much as I tried to figure out what the discussion was. Nobody alluded to it, but I imagine that we, Louisville City, were against that decision because it would have caused havoc in our schedule. And this is going to be a big game with a big draw, a whole bunch of people coming, drinking a whole bunch of beer on Saturday. So we're not going to give that up. Plus, we have the advantage, and I don't necessarily think we're going to want to give that up. In the future, I would like both leagues to play by the same rules so that we can optimize our chances of winning. I think because we didn't do anything, we got what we got, and that's what we're going to play.
Here's how the discussion went. Here's how it went. So here's Jake Edwards. Here's Jake Edwards at USL headquarters. He's scrolling through Twitter, and he sees, oh, they rescheduled their game? That would have been a great idea. And then that's it. That's how the discussion went.
Then nothing.
You're right. Immediately, they should have been like, oh, we're doing the same thing. They should have done it right from the jump and given Sacramento the same. I mean, this is an advantage, right? Give Sacramento the same advantage that Orlando has. Yeah, they
You
should
could have done it by a
immediately.
day, right? Could have gone from a Saturday to a Friday. At least give Sacramento one extra day to fly back.
That's a little bit of help. Sure.
I mean, you're right though. If they were going to do that, you have to do it really early because you got people that are. I mean, Ken, didn't you say your buddies from Michigan are coming down for this match, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you got people. We had some cousins trying to come in from Illinois for this match too. So I mean, they have to make a decision way ahead of time. You can't do it this early. Now, on the other side of the coin, I just kind of think of it, and this is being a Lou City fan, easier to say, of course, but it's kind of like, well. Okay, that's your problem, Sacramento, not ours. Okay, we're not going to switch around the world to appease you. We've got a huge match on Labor Day weekend on a Saturday hey, we've got a mission this season. It's the USL Championship. So, that's kind of, I feel about it both ways. I am definitely going to be rooting for Sacramento in that game, but I also at the same time think if the shoe was on their other foot and we were going toward this, do you think anybody would go out of their way to help us? But this should have been a league decision anyway, so it really wouldn't be something that's
absolutely.
And nobody should be passing the blame or saying something like, well, Louisville City didn't do anything about this. It ain't got nothing to do with us. I
think it's a bigger problem, and the bigger problem is the way the U.S. Open Cup schedule aligns with our schedules. When you see the cup schedules in Europe, they kind of align simultaneous.
They're crazy.
So you'll see some people making cup runs that aren't necessarily making, and they do things a little bit differently over there, but aren't necessarily making season-winning runs to win the trophy. The cup final is happening well before we've decided who's won the Supporters' Shield and who's won the playoffs. So this kind of inability of U.S. soccer to line up professional leagues with this Pro-Am Cup tournament, which I think has caused this problem. Are we going to fix it? I don't have any faith in U.S. soccer to fix this. Oh well.
Matt, I'll kind of wrap up this topic with asking you, and I'll kind of circle back to Ken. I mean, what does it mean for the USL to have a team in this final? And furthermore, what would it mean if Sacramento got the Open Cup victory against Orlando City?
I mean, it's huge, right? There hasn't been a USL team in the final since Charleston in 2008. There's only been 4 since MLS was founded, even USL teams in the final. So, I mean, it's huge, right? This is a big event. This is big for the league. This is big for supporters of the league, for us. I mean, being able to see. I mean, we know that the gap between MLS and USL is not that wide of a gap, right? Because we watch every week consistently, but you're going to get a lot of eyes on this game that maybe don't necessarily know that, right? And that this is a chance for them to see, like, wow, USL can be competitive, even though this isn't a team that I wouldn't have someone check out Sacramento. They're one of the best teams in the USL. That's not a phrase that I would be saying, right? But they're still able to compete, so it's huge. It's absolutely enormous, and being able to get a chance to go to the Champions League, the CONCACAF Champions League, also huge, also big for the league.
Ken, your thoughts on that? Having a USL team in the finals and maybe possibly winning it?
Yeah, I think it's very good, but it's not surprising either. I think the USL has done a lot of things right. One of the things the USL has done right is the way they've built clubs. Some of the emphasis they put on building academies that support clubs, and the greater emphasis that they're putting on building kind of sufficient stadiums to kind of support the business end of these clubs. I think MLS also does the thing, but they have this giant expansion fee that they're able to kind of fund their teams and all of this stuff on. USL's built differently, so it's more of a bottom up type of league structure that I think Sacramento making the U.S. Open Cup is one step that we're going to see a lot more of in the future. I think this demonstrates USL is going in the right direction. You're starting to see a lot more stadiums and stadium news being popped up, even to where the USL is focusing on hey, where can we put a stadium? Where can we get funding a stadium? Okay, when we've got that, then we can kind of build a team around it, which sounds a little bass-ackwards, but it's actually not, because you have to be able to support a team with business. You have to be able to support a team with an academy and the right kind of people in the area to go to the games. Sacramento, his before we came along, Sacramento was, the flagship of the USL, because they had won a USL, they had won an Open Cup. So they were the leaders, but then we came along and kind of usurped them from that. But there are other teams that are going to do the same thing to us. I talked about Miami at the beginning of the show. That is a team that if they can get things together, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. This stadium that they're building in, where is it? Rhode Island, right?
Yeah,
heard about this thing?
Pawtucket.
Mm-hmm.
Pawtucket, $130 million. They don't have a team yet, right? So this is another step that the USL is taking that's going to be able to continually compete with the MLS. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this, where we're not, 10 years from now, we're not going to be viewed as the second division team. We're going to be viewed as a league that's vying for first division.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. That's ultimately what we're kind of going for. And I think it also shows when I'm trying to explain things to people that are not soccer fans about Louisville City, and, they often I'll hear, are the MLS? And I say, no, they're in the USL. Oh, is that kind of like the minor league soccer? And it's kind of like, I try to explain how soccer is different. Yes, we all hate that, right? And
hate it.
And if nothing better would show that the USL is not minor leagues than Sacramento getting this win against Orlando City. Do it for USL tactics. Do it for USL show. Hell, do it for the USL memes. Let's get this win, Sacramento, but not next Saturday. Whenever the hell that game is coming up pretty soon.
September 7th. It's the Saturday.
Thank you. So
we're a little bit early.
Yeah, we're a little early, but we wanted to kind of get it out of the way since Sacramento is in the air and coming to town next Saturday. So now we want to see that happen.
Wait, the game is on Saturday? The USL Cup game is on Saturday?
It's on a Wednesday.
On Wednesday, right? So
yeah,
they
Open Cup is
and 4 days
September
later,
7th.
Yes. 4 days later, they turn around and play their cup game.
By the way, in the chat, I've been called a pro ref for giving Ken 2 red cards in one episode, and Kaylee has also asked if Ken has to serve a suspension for the Reds tonight.
Everybody's hoping.
Fingers crossed.
I'm going to take it to the disciplinary committee. I think you're wrong.
I mean, we've had red cards overthrown on this show before, so it's not completely unheard of. Well, that was a great topic, and something that we've debated on the show before about USL, MLS, the whole soccer structure here in America. Obviously, there's some work to be done. We all can kind of agree that MLS is not exactly the best system in the world, but right now it's considered the top tier in American soccer. So that's what makes the Open Cup so much fun, is because you can have a lot of teams that are not top tier or not top tier make it really far in the tournament. So I'm very excited about this one coming up. It's going to be an exciting week. 2 big games for Louisville City, one on the road and one at Homeland Family Stadium. We hope to see each and every one of you guys there coming up next Saturday. Don't forget our audio version. How dare you, Matt? Our audio version can be found on Spotify, and along with all sorts of other places you can get podcasts. Just Google 24-Hour Purple People and you'll find it on there. We also have an Instagram account that we're still trying to figure out how to use. Matt sent me a message last night and said, did I do it right? And I can confirm he made a successful reel. Congratulations, Matt. It's like you're in your 20s all over again. And we also have Facebook, socials, all that kind of stuff. We do appreciate you hitting that like button, and we also really, 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 most of all, appreciate you guys in the chat tonight. It really just makes things a lot more entertaining, especially for me, because I kind of zone out when these two are talking, so I'll just kind of read what you guys are saying. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Very insightful. Great job tonight, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm going to go find some ice cubes and put them down my shirt. For Ken Luther and Matt Dalton, we will stop. Maybe I'll get that shirt you were going to wear, Ken, with the holes in the armpit. For Ken Luther, Matt Dalton, we are 24-hour Purple People, and we will see you next time. Hopefully, we'll see you next Saturday at the FAM. Love you guys. Thanks, Purple Fam. Bye-bye.